What's up, Bad Batchers? Good morning to you. It is time to talk about another episode this week, episode 6, Tribe, and we got a special guest. Unfortunately, I don't mean special guest for this show, just special guest on the episode, and I'm talking about Gunji because we saw him in the trailer. He was heavily promoted as, look forward to this season. You're going to see this character because there were all those younglings from the Clone Wars, and he was a standout character, specifically because of that lightsaber, and we get to see that lightsaber again. It's back in canon today. Let's get talking about it. Now, the truth is, from my point of view, this, like I said, was an expected episode, but it was okay. It was fine. I liked returning to Kashyyyk. I liked seeing Gunji. I liked seeing the lightsaber. I liked seeing the Bad Batch get involved in a different story and being heroes. But at the end of the day, it does kind of feel like not a lot happened. And that's okay, right? Because last week, not a lot happened. But I felt like the adventure was something that was keeping me interested in last week. Whereas the same thing sort of happens twice in this episode. We got somewhere, and then it just led to a bigger version of the same thing. A couple things I did like. When they land back on the planet and they run into those spider webs, all those like spider creatures coming down reminded me a lot of Harry Potter and even some Lord of the Rings stuff. The giant spider coming down and having Gunji use the Force to explain that, as long as you are not threatening these people, they can be on your side. And that's a precursor to talking about that, like, first, let's get involved with animals, and then later, maybe I can lead you to believing that there's some truth to trees as well. Also, a fun little thing about the spiders, I actually liked there was this extra little extended scene where everybody walked away and the spider went back up into the trees, and Omega was kind of looking around, and then there's this extra thing that didn't need to be there, but I'm so glad they put it in there. The spider comes down again and is kind of looking around and walking away. And it adds this extra element of you fear or reality to the situation. Like, the spiders just didn't go away. They're still around. They're still moving around you. And it really made me feel like I was in that position, close to those spiders, but now still being scared of them, but they're not actually a threat anymore, or are they? I really like that they added that because it put me in the scene and made me feel like this was a real scenario and not just like, away spiders and then you never see them again kind of thing. The ongoing feud continues. We've got Trandoshans trying to kill the Wookiees, paying other Trandoshans in Wookiee pelts. They're just here to destroy the lands and stuff. Apparently they're being hired by the Empire to kind of clear out these areas and gather up all the resources. Again, this brings me back to Clone Wars, what we know from that world, and hopefully in the future people will be like, oh man, it takes me back to Bad Batch. I remember learning about how Trandoshans and Wookiees didn't get along in the Bad Batch. But right now, it takes me back to Clone Wars, and it gives me a feeling like I've been here before, kind of a nostalgic thing, getting to revisit all that. That was pretty awesome. One thing I couldn't figure out, and maybe there's some sort of like Boy Scout or wildlife thing going on here that I don't know about, but they made all this fire, and then they said, oh, before the fire spreads, we better start digging. And I'm like, digging? You're going to dig like a hole like around the area before it gets there? This is a forest. I don't know. It didn't seem to, I couldn't figure that out. All right, so we head back to this tribe's main area or other area. I'm not really sure what's going on, but we go back there and we realize that there's a bunch of other troops coming, and they're going to pray to the trees to try to come with a plan. Cool idea, cool concept. Obviously, we talked about it earlier, getting used to that concept. Okay, whatever the trees say, I'm fine with that. Let's do that. And it works out. This is the part that I thought was kind of weak. I expected more to happen, but it was basically the exact same thing again. So we pray to the trees to come up with a plan to defend ourselves against more Trandoshan warriors and stormtroopers. And basically the exact same fight happens. They get in a fight, and then this time, at least, they are able to call upon the spiders, and the spiders come and help, but it really does feel like just a repeat of the last thing. And I didn't feel a lot of tension because I was pretty sure that they were going to get out of this, considering they already did get out of it earlier. And in fact, they do win the fight, and hooray, they win the fight. And we kind of learned that Gunji is now going to be accepted into this group. And there's some sweet words from Hunter about, you know, that they're both children of war and they should be kids, but they don't get to be kids. And that was pretty cool. I like that. But cool ending for Venomore, though. Very gruesome, being picked up by the spiders and taken into the trees. Very gruesome death. Very cool. And then also, I gotta say, again, to repeat what they did earlier, they had this big fight and they're like, all right, guys, let's get to digging. They're going to stop. There's huge, massive fires that are going to catch the whole forest everywhere around them, right? And they're going to dig some holes or dig like a moat area or something. I feel like that would take a long time to do, but they just kind of like do it, and then the fires are vanquished, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. Look, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not really sure that I had high expectations for this episode. I think I was looking forward to seeing Genji return and seeing how he was incorporated into the show, but it all went so quick and it wasn't super satisfying. It's nice to know that he made it out of Order 66, but this sort of solidifies to me that he's probably not going to continue to be a Jedi. So I guess that's kind of a letdown. It seems to me like he's in the process of going home, just becoming a Wookiee again, and probably because the Empire, they made it very clear, he's in danger everywhere he goes. It's probably just going to be another situation where he just Kenobis it and sort of fades into just being a Wookiee again, putting all the Jedi stuff aside, especially since he's already still so young. He's just barely a Padawan. I don't even think he had a teacher or a master of any sort. I think he was just youngling, basically. I know there's some technicality with he has his lightsaber, and I think maybe he was Padawan, or I'm not really sure in the Clone Wars. He may have gotten to that rank before we saw him again. I'm not really sure. Regardless, I think he's done being a Jedi, and he's just going to go off into obscurity. Maybe that's a character that could show up later, but I think this is a way for them to take certain characters that survived Order 66 and still put them in the situation where when Yoda says, when I'm gone, the last of the Jedi you will be, because a lot of the people who survived just kind of gave it up. They said, I'm walking away from it. I'm not that anymore. That's it. So I guess that's where we're landing with Gunji. I don't know if he'll ever show up again, but I guess let's hope. Am I wrong? What did you guys think of this episode? I don't know. Put in the comments below if you think I missed something obvious, or what your thoughts on the episode were, whether you liked it or not. Maybe I'm completely misinterpreting what's supposed to happen with Gunji or what the messaging behind that is. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Make sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you like watching this video, please subscribe so you can stick around. Click the bell to notify you whenever we're going to do more episodes of The Bad Batch. I'm going to be doing them as they come out. And don't forget, next week is a two-parter. So I'm going to be doing both those episodes. But get excited, because that's 2 new episodes of Bad Batch coming next week. So get excited. When it happens, I will still be here. I'll still be James Baney, and I'll see you then for another episode of the Bad Batch Reaction Show. Peace.